So glad to see so many people come out for the event today. My name is Matt Drew. I'm a member of the Orsted team. And as a Marylander, I couldn't be more proud of today. Orsted is a global clean energy leader, and we are proud to be developing the Skipjack Wind Farm project. It's a 966 megawatt offshore wind project that will create thousands of jobs for Marylanders and power nearly 300,000 homes with clean energy. We at Orsted are excited to announce today the launch of Maryland's first Advanced Foundation Component Center that will be located right here at Tradepoint Atlantic. This new center will enable our company to develop our offshore wind portfolio in the U.S. It's going to allow us to deliver renewable energy to millions of Americans, and it's going to allow us to help Maryland advance in a leadership position as an offshore clean energy hub. But before we get to today's exciting announcement, we're really lucky to have some of Maryland's leading voices here on stage for offshore wind, and I'm personally very excited to invite each of them to say a few words. So to kick off today's event, it's my pleasure to introduce an exceptional business leader and friend to offshore wind who I've had the pleasure to work with for more than 4 years now. So please join me in welcoming our first speaker, Managing Director of Tradepoint Atlantic, Carrie Doyle.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Tradepoint Atlantic for this very special event. This day has been nearly a decade in the making, and it would not be possible without the support of our federal, state, and local representatives. Most notably, I'd like to welcome back Senator Cardin, Senator Van Hollen, Senate President Ferguson, Speaker Jones, our very own County Executive, Johnny Olszewski, Jr. Thank you for your many years of partnership. We're also quite pleased to welcome back Governor Moore for what will surely be the first of many major announcements during his time as governor of this great state. We're here today at the former home of Bethlehem Steel, which was at one point the largest integrated steel mill in the world. It was an expansive 5-square-mile peninsula of industry and opportunity, whose historic decline has left a lasting economic and environmental impact throughout this region. But today, the 3,300-acre peninsula serves as a global multimodal logistics hub, providing critical supply chain solutions for over 35 world-class organizations, while also providing a place of employment every day for over 12,000 Marylanders. And you can see it right behind me. The combination of deep water access, robust quayside infrastructure, rail connectivity, and abundant real estate make Tradepoint a perfect fit for offshore wind. With Orsted's announcement to create Maryland's first Advanced Foundation Component Center and the signing of the Power Act, the future of offshore wind in Maryland could not be any more promising. Congratulations to Orsted on this important first step towards establishing a strategic offshore wind facility right here in Baltimore County. Together with U.S. Wind's foundation manufacturing facility, Maryland is poised to become a hub for offshore wind manufacturing and logistics. I'd also like to extend a special thanks to Governor Moore for his bold leadership and commitment to offshore wind development and making Maryland a national leader in clean energy and the fight against climate change. Thank you all for joining us today. We look forward to the many great speakers ahead. Let's celebrate this important milestone, and then let's get back to work, because there's plenty more to do. And Governor, I look forward to our work together to bring many more wins to the state of Maryland.
Thank you, Carrie. Riggs Distler and Company is a leading union construction solutions firm with offices all along the East Coast, including Dundalk, Maryland, just about 4 miles from where we're standing here today. Riggs Distler will play a crucial role in the development of our Advanced Foundation Component Center here at Tradepoint Atlantic. So I'd like you to please join me in welcoming CEO and President of Riggs Distler, Steve Zamatetas, Jr.
What a wonderful, beautiful, great day. I am very humbled to be here with all these folks on the stage right now. You know, Riggs Distler is a union electrical, mechanical, and utility construction firm that was founded right here in the state of Maryland in 1909. In fact, our very first office was a 4-story brick building that was on Calvert Street, downtown Baltimore City, not more than 13 miles of where we stand and we meet here and congregate here today. Over the past 100+ years, Riggs Distler has worked on many significant projects and important projects throughout the state of Maryland. Johns Hopkins Hospital, alma mater, Westinghouse Electric Corporation, the Baltimore Harbor Tunnel, the Naval Air Station at Patuxent River, and at Bethlehem Steel, what we always fondly called Sparrows Point, which is now at Tradepoint Atlantic. This was the exact location that Riggs Distler employed hundreds of union workers. We executed millions and millions of man-hours. We performed work here on the on-site generation station at Penwood, the L furnace, which was one of the largest blast furnaces in the world, the BOF, basic oxygen furnace, which is where iron coming out of the blast furnace was converted into steel. And our employees worked here all the way up through 2012, when we thought, for a lot of us thought, our tools would fall silent for the very last time. And that was when RG Steel closed their facilities here at Sparrows Point. But here we are today. It's 2023, and we are in the midst of another great American turnaround story. Riggs Distler, Orsted, Maryland's government, Maryland's labor unions, Tradepoint Atlantic, and our Tier 2 partners, Smulders, Youngstrom, and Crystal Steel Fabricators, are all working together to make on one of Maryland's most important projects as we build a cleaner energy future for the great state of Maryland. Join me in applause for that. This facility that we are celebrating here at Tradepoint Atlantic will strengthen Maryland's position as an offshore wind supply chain leader. This facility will directly create more than 125 union jobs. This facility will contribute tremendous economic and social benefit to the state of Maryland and to the state of Maryland's communities. And most importantly, this facility that we are celebrating here at Tradepoint Atlantic will be a leading contributor towards our nation's transition to clean, renewable energy, which will bring boundless benefits to our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and our futures to come. Riggs Distler is honored, and we're proud to be a part of it. And I want to thank everyone for attending today's event. And I can't wait to hear what our esteemed speakers have to say next. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve. The Baltimore, D.C. Building Trades is a local affiliate of the North American Building Trades Union that supports the 28 local unions in the greater Baltimore, D.C., and Northern Virginia region. They represent thousands of skilled trade professionals in the building and construction industry. The building trades are a critical workforce partner for our Advanced Foundation Component Center. So please join me to welcome Baltimore Director of the Baltimore, D.C. Metro Building and Construction Council, Jermaine Jones.
I think that was the first time I was called an esteemed speaker. So now the pressure's actually on. So I just want to thank you for that pressure. I greatly appreciate it. But good afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to be here today. And on the behalf of the 24,000 skilled craft construction workers who are represented by the Baltimore, D.C. Building and Construction Trades, I want to say we're ready. We're ready. We're ready to go to work. We're ready to go to work. We're ready to put our skills to the test, and we're ready to make the state of Maryland one of the leading producers in offshore wind. Yes, let's give a clap for that. But what I'm most excited about is where this project is happening. It's happening in Sparrows Point, you know, where the heart of Bethlehem Steel was once at. You know, I remember often when people talk about Bethlehem Steel, they refer to the good old days. What was there, what used to be there, what has long gone and has no opportunity on coming back. I remember my grandmother telling me stories about how my great-grandfather worked in Sparrows Point and how he had a good job with benefits and family supporting wages, you know, where he was able to take care of our family and he was able to buy a home one day and move into the middle class. And I remember growing up, I had no idea where those opportunities existed anymore. And they were few and far between, but I'm happy to say today those type of jobs and those type of opportunities are coming back. They're coming back in the form of thousands of construction jobs that are going to be created due to this project, in the form that are going to provide health care, a living wage, and retirement securities. So today, that's what I'm most excited about. And our members are ready to go to work, and our future members are also excited and ready to go to work, because there are also going to be hundreds of apprentices on this job that are going to now get a career path and clean green jobs. And this is how you make a just transition to climate change. So I just want to thank everyone. Thank you, Governor, and your administration for your leadership. Orsted, I want to just thank you for your partnership. And Riggs Distler, I want to thank you as well for your continual partnership over the years, and show the entire country this is what it looks like when business, labor, and government works together. So thank you all. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jermaine. The Honorable Johnny Oshesky, known to many of us as Johnny O, is a lifelong Baltimore resident and graduate of Sparrows Point High School, just down the road from where we sit today. He's currently serving his second term as Baltimore County Executive and previously represented Baltimore County in the Maryland House of Delegates. Please join me to welcome Baltimore County Executive Johnny Oshesky.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Matt, so much. I am so excited to be here in Sparrows Point to welcome you all to Baltimore County in the latest of a series of incredible economic opportunities for not just our residents here in Baltimore County, but throughout the region and frankly across our entire state. Thank you to Governor Moore and Lieutenant Governor Miller, Senator Ben Cardin, Senator Chris Van Hollen for your continued support of new industrial and energy possibilities, not just here at Tradepoint, but across the entire country. And thank you also to David Hardy from Orsted. Carrie Doyle, thank you for your partnership and your entire team here at Tradepoint Atlantic. Steve, thank you for your work at Riggs Distler. And Jermaine, thank you and the building trades for how you are helping to lead in building our rebirth while also providing those family-sustaining wages. Baltimore County is proud to be a partner here at Tradepoint Atlantic, leading that continuous transformation that Jermaine talked about, touching every aspect of our region. Together with TPA, we have created over more than 12,000 jobs over the past 8 years, with an emphasis in maritime, logistics, distribution, and manufacturing. That's 12,000 opportunities for families to pursue that American dream, opportunities that didn't exist just a few years ago. These jobs not only directly benefit our national supply chain, but they reinforce the 21st century skills that allow our workforce to be among the best in the nation, while securing a bright economic future for themselves and their families. Today, TPA and Orsted have been models for equitable and innovative collaboration with our local communities and our local labor groups. I couldn't be more thrilled that they are continuing their investment in this sustainable energy development, safeguarding the environment for future generations while also reinforcing our county and state's potential as a clean energy powerhouse. It's hard to believe that we're standing in the same site that literally helped build our country, the Liberty ships, the bridges, and now we're powering our future in a whole new and exciting way. Today's celebration is our next step in that potential with the groundbreaking of this advanced foundation component assembly facility. This critical commitment to our local supply chain will create 125 skilled trade union jobs in addition to the many opportunities that Jermaine mentioned. And this facility will also make Sparrows Point, Baltimore County, and the state of Maryland even more integral in offshore wind projects up and down the East Coast, making us the beneficiary of a more innovative green future and directly infusing our potential with the promise of that brighter tomorrow. I want to just take a moment to also just talk about and thank our legislators for joining in their service in creating the opportunities to make events like today possible, pursuing things like the Power Act. I want to thank our Senate President, Bill Ferguson, Baltimore County's own Speaker, Adrian Jones. I want to thank Senate sponsor Katie Fry-Hester, Delegate Lorik Sherkudian, as well as many other partners who've helped make this possible. And of course, the Moore-Miller administration and all of the advocates, partners, and supporters for their hard work to advance this legislation and this critical work. I am so grateful for all of the partners who have helped make this day and this project a reality. Baltimore County is ready to continue our work to deliver those modern, innovative solutions that lift up our residents and lead the way for generations to come. Thanks so much.
Thank you, County Executive. The Honorable Chris Van Hollen is serving his second term in the United States Senate after representing Maryland's 8th Congressional District in the U.S. House of Representatives from 2003 to 2017. So please join me in welcoming Senator Chris Van Hollen to the podium.
Well, it's great to be here on this very special day. Johnny O, thank you for all your leadership. Good to be with you in Baltimore County, and I'm so glad the people of Baltimore County kept you at the helm. Good working with you. It's great to be here with my friend and partner in the United States Senate, Ben Cardin. And Senator Cardin and I were honored just yesterday to welcome our governor, Governor Moore, to speak before the Senate Democratic Caucus, where he talked about Maryland leading the way. So, Governor, it was great to have you. All our colleagues wish that they were representing Maryland after that. And I want to thank you and the Lieutenant Governor for a very good legislative session. Congratulations to both of you on getting off to a great start in Annapolis. And of course, you can't talk about Annapolis without talking about the great leadership of Speaker Jones, Senate President Ferguson, and all the other legislators who are here today. Let's give them a big round of applause as well. And congratulations on passing the legislation which is so instrumental in moving this project forward. I also want to commend Carrie Doyle and the whole team at Tradepoint Atlantic. It's good to be back here. The good news is it's been many times, and you keep growing in terms of what you're doing. As we've heard, this site, of course, was once the Sparrows Point site of Bethlehem Steel, the largest steel mill, largest steel producer in the world at the time. And Tradepoint Atlantic has helped transform this site that was really on its back after the closing of that mill, to bring this back to help transform it and build out the jobs of the 21st century. And there's no better example of building out the jobs of the 21st century than what brings us here today to celebrate, where this will be the staging area for the deployment of a huge amount of offshore wind energy right off the shores of our state of Maryland. And I want to salute the investments that are being made by Ørsted. Thank you to David Hardy and your team, and Riggs Distler, to Steve Zemitatis. Thank you and your team. Let's give them a round of applause for making the investment that's necessary, because this is going to generate $735 million worth of activity over the coming years, and it's going to generate enough power to supply 300,000 homes in Maryland and the mid-Atlantic coast. That is a very, very big deal. Now, Senator Cardin and I were very proud to help provide some of the financial fuel that has allowed this project and other wind projects to go forward. The Inflation Reduction Act, signed by President Biden, was the largest investment in history in the deployment of clean energy to tackle the climate crisis, the largest investment in the history of the world in terms of moving that forward. And that investment included extending and expanding tax credits, which are essential to making this project a success. I also want to focus on the other main part of what brings us here today, which is the jobs, because we are investing in clean energy and we're investing in jobs, and not just any jobs, good paying union jobs. Jermaine Jones, thank you, and your entire team at Baltimore, D.C., Metro Building, construction trades, the iron workers, the electrical workers, all of the trades, and all the other workers who are going to help power this plant and put Maryland at the forefront of offshore wind energy in the United States of America. And when you also take into account the investments by U.S. Wind, and I want to thank them as well, we are talking about 10,000 jobs from these offshore wind projects in the state of Maryland and up and down the coast. And this has caught the attention of the federal government as a model. I am pleased that to support their workforce and make sure that we provide assistance for the apprenticeship programs, that the U.S. Department of Commerce provided a $20 million grant for the Maryland Works for Wind projects, $20 million to support apprenticeship programs that will help support the jobs right here. So let me just close by saying that this project shows the absolute fallacy of those who assert that you can't protect our environment, that you can't protect our climate without somehow hurting the economy and hurting jobs. What this project shows is the opposite is true. We know that doing nothing when it comes to climate change is a disaster for all of us, but what this job shows us, what this project shows us, is the opportunities of confronting the climate crisis mean tens of thousands of good-paying jobs and move us into the future. We're so proud that Maryland is leading the way. It's great to be here with all of you today. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Senator Van Hollen. The Honorable Ben Cardin is serving his third term in the United States Senate after representing Maryland's 3rd congressional district in the U.S. House of Representatives from 1987 to 2007. So please join me in welcoming Senator Cardin to the podium. Welcome.
First, to Carrie Doyle and everybody at Tradepoint Atlantic, congratulations. Thank you for what you've done. Speaker Jones, just want you to know, when I was Speaker of the House, when I was here in Sparrows Point, it looked a lot different than it does today. And I must tell you, we were not clear about its future. Back in those days, we were doing everything we could to protect steel production in America. But it was a challenge, and we didn't know what the future would bring. Today, we can all have a smile on our face to know, under the leadership of Johnny Olszewski, under the leadership we've seen from the state legislature, from our federal delegation, the future of Sparrows Point is bright today. Congratulations to all our partners for making that a reality. And I just want to underscore the point that Senator Van Hollen made. We bragged a little bit yesterday in the United States Senate, having Governor Moore there. We bragged because of Maryland's leadership. Thanks to the leadership of Governor Moore, Lieutenant Governor Miller, and our incredible legislature under Bill Ferguson and Adrian Jones, Maryland led on national service. In this General Assembly session, you led on dealing with child poverty to take a real step at reducing child poverty in our state. You led in respect for our veterans. You led in education. The list goes on and on and on. And now you're leading on dealing with the threat of climate change that we have globally by what we're doing here in Maryland. Maryland, once again, is leading the nation in dealing with the challenges we have. And today's groundbreaking is a critical moment in making that a reality. I had the honor of being part of the U.S. delegation. I led the Senate delegation to Sharm el-Sheikh this summer, actually it was last November, for the climate summit. It was shortly after Congress passed the Inflation Reduction Act. America was back in global leadership to deal with the climate crisis. And we not only led by our words, we led by our deeds. The bipartisan infrastructure bill and the Inflation Reduction Act were game changers in dealing with the crisis of climate. We made a difference. And the rest of the world's trying to catch up right now, which is fine. You know, when I travel to some of these international meetings, I get complaints that America's done too much. My answer, try to catch up with us. But what we're doing here today on this groundbreaking is so important. Senator Van Hollen talked about it, about what it means about our energy security and our future, what it means about respect for our environment. And Jermaine, you're absolutely right. What does it mean about good paying jobs, good union jobs moving forward? This has truly been a partnership. It is Team Maryland. And I need to underscore how we've all worked together. Working with Senator Van Hollen in the Senate, our team works with Governor Moore. We work with the state legislature. We work with Judge Rupersberger. We work with Kwesi Mfume. It's a team. And as the governor says frequently, when you work together, you get a lot more done. And we're getting a lot more done for the people of Maryland. This is a proud day. It's not just a groundbreaking. It's the movement for the future of where we can be as a nation. Energy secure, green energy, energy we can rely upon, good jobs, a good future for Sparrows Point, for Maryland, and our nation. I'm proud to be part of this team.
Thank you so much, Senator Cardin. The Honorable Aruna Miller was elected Lieutenant Governor of Maryland in 2022 after serving 3 terms representing Legislative District 15 in the Maryland House of Delegates. Please join me in welcoming Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Did you all get the memo to wear your steel toe shoes today? Because I certainly didn't. But anyway, we'll adjust, right? It's great to have all of you here today. I want to thank all the distinguished speakers that are here today, our federal delegation, our state delegation, our local elected officials, everyone that's joined us today. And as was said earlier, it's a partnership between government, labor, and private sector that is going to make Maryland so strong. And I have to tell you, the best partner to have in this administration is my governor and your governor, Wes Moore. It should be noted that the first time that I ever met him, I walked away and I looked at my husband and I said, Wes Moore is going to be the next governor of Maryland. And so it is, right? Anyway, just wanted to say thank you, Matt, for the introduction and for the work you do what you do each and every single day. You and all your colleagues at Ørsted are helping move our state forward. It is an honor and privilege to be with all of you today. Today, we will take two actions that together will put our state on a path to building a cleaner, greener future. Both the groundbreaking at Tradepoint and the legislation Governor Moore will sign into law later today will help us meet the climate goals of our administration. Beginning today, Maryland is on a path to reach our goal of 100% clean energy by 2035. Governor Moore and I know that this goal is ambitious, but we also know that it is one that we can meet thanks to our partnerships. Our partnership in the state legislature with Speaker Jones and President Ferguson, our partnership with the federal delegation with Senators Cardin and Van Hollen, and private partners like those with Ørsted. Not only are our climate goals achievable, but they're absolutely necessary for addressing an issue of such magnitude like climate change. The climate crisis is the existential threat of our time, and it's an issue that impacts all Marylanders. Marylanders on the Eastern Shore who see the kind of flooding in their homes every single year that should be only happening every 100 years. Or Marylanders who live along our state's busiest highway corridors and are therefore subject to the highest levels of air pollution in our state and some of the highest rates of negative health outcomes like childhood asthma and chronic lung conditions. For those Marylanders, for all of us, we need ambitious solutions to climate crises. But for Governor Moore and me, we know the solutions to the climate crisis are also a groundbreaking opportunity, an opportunity to create new businesses, to create new jobs, to steady our financial footing, and to revitalize our communities by investing in clean energy future. Because clean energy revolution isn't on the horizon, it's here right now, at this moment. And with that revolution comes enormous opportunities to create jobs, generate capital investment, and revitalize communities that were once the hub of American manufacturing. However, those opportunities only come to those that seize them, and Maryland isn't going to let them pass by. Today, our progress at Tradepoint Atlantic and the bills Governor Moore will be signing, we're making Maryland a leader in clean energy revolution, including legislation like the Power Act, which codifies our administration's commitment to producing 8.5 gigawatts of power through offshore wind, enough to power nearly 3 million homes. And it all starts right here in Baltimore. Our partnership with Ørsted will create thousands of good-paying jobs, union jobs, right here in Baltimore. This is crucial because too many Baltimoreans live in communities overburdened by the impacts of climate change and underserved by the resources to address them. Making Baltimore the heart of our state's response to the climate crisis is an economic opportunity for the future of our state. But it's also an opportunity to foster equity and justice as we move toward a cleaner future. Because the solution to the climate crisis involves every one of us, and we can't leave anyone behind. Together, we will revitalize cities and drive investment into communities who have been left out of the equation for far too long. Together, we will set the trajectory of the clean energy movement right here in Maryland. And together, we will build a future for generations that is cleaner and greener, and one that is filled with economic opportunities for all Marylanders. Thank you.
Thank you. Well said. Well said. Thank you. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. A global clean energy leader, Ørsted develops, constructs, operates offshore and land-based wind farms, solar farms, energy storage facilities, and bioenergy plants. In the United States, the company has approximately 700 employees and is the first energy company in the world with a science-based net zero emissions target as validated by the Science Based Targets Initiative. Ørsted's currently developing a 5-gigawatt portfolio of offshore wind projects, the largest in the country, including the Skipjack Wind project here in Maryland. So I'd like everybody to join me to please welcome our Group Executive Vice President, CEO, and my boss of Ørsted Americas, David Hardy.
Thanks so much, Matt, and thank you all for being here today. Thank the previous speakers, and I also want to give a special shout out to all the Ørsted employees that are here today. Without you, this project wouldn't be moving forward, so let's thank them first. It's absolutely remarkable to me to think about what's happened just in the last 4 weeks. I was at the IPF Offshore Wind Conference in Baltimore on March 29th, when Governor Moore announced Maryland's new ambition of 8.5 gigawatts of offshore wind. And just a few weeks later, on April 10th, the Maryland legislature passed the Power Act. And now, less than a month from that announcement from the governor, Governor Moore is ready to sign these goals into law, solidifying Maryland's position as a national pace setter in offshore wind. Thank you, Governor Moore. Thank you, President Ferguson, and thank you, Speaker Jones, for your swift action to prioritize offshore wind for Maryland. And thank you to the many other Maryland leaders who made this possible. We know there was a lot of people who contributed. So we're excited to be here today for the signing of this historic legislation, and we're proud to be here celebrating with so many of our local partners, the building trades, Riggs Distler, Crystal Steel, who's a supplier to Riggs Distler, a Maryland-based company on the eastern side of Maryland, Tradepoint Atlantic, and so many state and federal leaders who are creating jobs right here in Maryland. A few words come to mind when I think about what we're celebrating here today: opportunity, ingenuity, and equity. First, let's talk about opportunity. The space where we're breaking ground today, you've heard several times, represents the immense potential that this industry offers to the Maryland's economy, its climate, and its workers. Marylanders were built for this. The state's blue economy has a long and respected history. Fishing and crabbing on the eastern shore, the maritime industries of Annapolis, and working the ports right here at Tradepoint and the Port of Baltimore. And this state also has a deep history of steel making, including right here at Sparrows Point, which used to be home to the world's largest steel mill. Now, a new Maryland shore-to-shore industry is taking shape. Offshore wind energy puts that legacy of maritime and steel expertise to use to build a clean energy future. On the eastern shore, our partner, Crystal Steel, will prefabricate the massive components that will become internal platforms and anode cages for the offshore wind foundations. And here at Tradepoint Atlantic, this new facility will receive those giant pieces of steel, and union trade people will assemble them into the foundation components that will be shipped out to our wind farms. The new supply chain will support hundreds of good-paying jobs for Marylanders, including 125 union positions right here at Tradepoint Atlantic. So the opportunity is expansive. Like I said, the second word that comes to mind is ingenuity. The components that will be assembled here will be some of the most significant pieces of offshore wind energy equipment produced in America. These advanced foundation components, as we call them, are part of an innovative offshore wind turbine foundation design. The design increases the operating crew safety by simplifying the transfer of material and personnel from the moving vessel to the stationary turbine. The design also separates key functional pieces of the turbines into distinct components, which enables more local manufacturing opportunity for Maryland businesses like Crystal Steel. Here at Tradepoint Atlantic, workers will assemble the internal platforms that house wiring and sensors and allow technicians to access the inside of the turbine for maintenance. The facility here will also fabricate the external platforms where that transfer at sea of personnel and equipment can now safely take place even in inclement weather. And the third final major component assembled here will be the anode cages, which will be lowered into the water around the turbine foundation to protect it from corrosion and extend the lifetime of the monopiles. This industry is in its early stages, and these specialized components have required companies like Riggs Distler and their suppliers to innovate. They're creating new fabrication equipment and developing workforce training to ensure we have enough skilled workers to support the project. These innovations will make the work safer and more efficient, leading to a stronger American clean energy industry. Finally, I want to talk about what I think is maybe the most important part, and that's equity. As I said, we're just in the first chapter of offshore wind story here in the United States. That means we have a chance to shape this industry from the outset and build it the right way, an equitable way. I'm proud that Ørsted is committed to equal opportunity in offshore wind with significant supplier diversity and STEM education commitments to underserved communities. In fact, we've already announced $10 million for STEM education and workforce development programs here in Maryland as part of our project. I'm also proud that Ørsted signed a first-of-its-kind project labor agreement with the North America's building trade unions, committing to use a skilled union workforce for the offshore construction of all of our projects, that whole 5 gigawatts that Matt talked about. Recently, Jermaine and I had the opportunity to discuss this agreement at the White House with Vice President Harris, with the hope that it would inspire similar commitments across the clean energy sector and beyond. Our agreement includes specific initiatives to recruit and train a more diverse and representative union workforce through pre-apprenticeship programs and workforce development partnerships. These aren't just pipelines to jobs, these are pathways to careers and upward mobility. There are only a few ways for Americans to achieve that sort of upward mobility today. For me, growing up, that pathway was through the military. I enlisted out of high school, and my service in the Navy ultimately put me on a path to college, business school, and a career in the energy industry. I know Governor Moore's own military service has helped define his career and trajectory in life. For many Americans, a union card is that same ticket to more prosperity and security for themselves and their families. I'm particularly proud that Ørsted and our partners are providing that pathway for more American workers. So the opportunity, ingenuity, and equity, that's what I see here in Maryland and for Maryland's clean energy future. And I'm excited to see Tradepoint Atlantic become the hub of activity at the center of it all. And now I have the chance to introduce a leader who, despite just a few months in office, is already championing that clean energy future for Maryland. In addition to signing the Power Act here today, Governor Moore is also enacting legislation that will lead to cleaner air, better public health, and a healthier environment for Maryland. From climate education, transportation, and public safety, Governor Moore is committed to making this Maryland's decade and leaving no Marylander behind. Ørsted is so proud to be a partner in this important work with you, Governor. It's my honor to welcome him here today, Governor Wes Moore, Governor of Maryland. And I can't compete with his public speaking at all, so.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. I tell you what, I'm a very proud Army guy, but I like that Navy guy right here, man. We're thankful for you, Dave. Sincerely, thank you. And listen, I have said it before, I will say it again. This is going to be Maryland's decade. Maryland is going to be the home and the leader in offshore wind in this country. And it is a day like today that's going to celebrate what that means and what that looks like. And I'm proud of the fact this is going to be a foundation for that. So this is a great day for our state. And I'm excited to be here. You know, it's funny. We've been through quite a few ribbon cuttings, even just in our first 93 days, LG. And I have to say, I come from a very proud union family. My family was lifted by labor. But I'm proud of the fact that today is the first time we've had a lot of ribbon cuttings. But this is my first soil dig. And this is good, man, because and Bob, I don't know where you are right now, Bob. Good to see you, man. You know, a lot of my family operating engineers, and you promised to give me to let me get in that forklift. Just make sure no one else is around when I do it. But I'm proud of the fact that today that we have a chance. I've just turned my black shoes brown while walking through this soil, because this is truly hallowed ground here. And we are grateful and we are excited about what's happening here. And I'm excited for the people who we are here with on the stage, but also everyone out here, because this is what progress looks like and this is what's required, right? Because when you look at all the various entities, everything that it took to make today happen, there's two things that are always prerequisites. One is vision, and it's an ability to see something before other people do. An ability to invest in something before other people are prepared. An ability to understand what the future looks like before other people have a chance to see it themselves. And the second thing is partnership. Because without everybody here on this stage and here in front of me, the truth is that without any of you, without all of you, nothing would have happened. We're not here had it not been for the leadership that we see from our private sector partners. And Dave, again, thank you so much, and thank you for the leadership. Carrie, you know, from the first time that we met, man, I knew that you were going to be a special leader inside this larger fight, and I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for the work that you all continue to do. And Stephen, the ability to be able to put together a product and help to lead the way. We're not here if it's not for the leadership of the private sector and the partnership that comes on board. We're not here if it were not for the leadership that we saw from our federal delegation. Because the truth is that it's both about things like the IRA, which again, without the legislation that was passed by our federal delegation, that was led on by our federal delegations, Senator Van Hollen and Senator Cardin, there is no ammunition that we would have to be able to accomplish this mission. But it's also about the fact that we have a federal delegation who repeatedly and continually make sure that Maryland is seen and heard and the resources are coming our way in order for us to be bold. We're not here had it not been for our local elected officials, county executive. Thank you so much for all you continue to do. You've been a champion, continue to be a champion. We're not here if it's not for our labor and our union partners, because we know whose hands it is that is going to help to build the future of this state. We're not here had it not been for our state legislature. And I'm thankful for the fact to have our presiding officers as not just friends, but partners in the work, our Speaker of the House, Adrian Jones, and our Senate President, Bill Ferguson, and our entire delegation. We're not here without community organizations. And I'm looking out and seeing my friends and my family from Turner Station over there. Without each and every one of you, if you're not here, we're not here. We wouldn't be able to accomplish this mission if we're not accomplishing this thing together. That's why today matters. That's why when I say that we stand on hallowed ground, it's not just a hallowed ground about how we viewed the past. It's hallowed ground because this is going to be the foundation for our future. It's hallowed ground because understanding that the work happening right here at Tradepoint Atlantic, that this is going to be a foundation about making us the offshore wind capital in America. This is an exciting new chapter for our state. Maryland Steel led the American economy in the 20th century, and I want Maryland Wind to lead the American economy in the 21st century. So it is true, in just a few moments, I'm very proud to be able to put my signature on the Power Act, which will nearly quadruple Maryland's offshore wind energy goals by raising our targets to 8.5 gigawatts of power through offshore wind. That, as our remarkable Lieutenant Governor said, that's enough power to power literally 3 million homes by the earth. That this is our chance to lead, and by hitting these targets, Maryland's economy is not just going to be competitive, it's going to move our state towards energy independence. And when we say that we will be at 100% clean energy by 2035, we mean that. And the power of today is also this is not just about Maryland leading the way when it comes to a clean energy future. This defines what it means to go out there and change lives. And I want to tell you about one of the lives that this project with Ørsted is going to touch. It's about a person named Matt. And Matt's from Baltimore, and a few years ago, he fell in some hard times where Matt found himself homeless, where he relied on food from a local food bank to get by. He was looking for a job, but he couldn't land one because people weren't hiring him. And finally, he got a job over at Strum Contracting, a black-owned business in Baltimore that helps train folks in jobs in the renewable energy space. That job did not just change his current. That job changed his future, for not just him, but for his entire family. Where 8 years after Strum, Matt has 6 welding certificates. He makes a 6-figure salary. He owns a home. He's one of the leaders in this new phase. I'm going to keep my resume sharp and fresh because I know I'm going to be looking for a job from him very soon. When we invest in clean energy, it's not just about investing in our environment. It's about investing in our future, of how we'll live and who's going to lead. It's about making sure that we're developing new industries where everyone can be seen and everyone can be heard. And everyone here, on this stage and in front of me, you're not just a part of making that future happen. You're making sure that when that future has happened, that every single Marylander, even those who are not here right now, are going to benefit. That's why today matters, is because this is a very clear statement to our entire state that we are moving fast, that we are going to be bold, and we're going to have 6.2 million people who are going to be participants in that boldness. Because we're not leaving people behind in this next journey. And so today is a celebration of a lot of hard work, a lot of push, a lot of courage, but also today is a true celebration and an acknowledgement of the very, very, very bright future that Maryland has in store. Bless you all. And as I said before, let's get to work, Maryland.
Thank you, Governor Moore, for your visionary leadership. Ørsted, and together with all of our partners, are so proud to be part of Team Maryland. So now I'd like to invite those who are here on stage to take their positions at the front. Each person, there's some shovels here and here, and let's have a groundbreaking. So while we're getting set up, We'll take a few minutes to reset the stage after the signing for the legislation signing. So let's get everybody together.
Governor Hogan. That's right. That's right. Where I almost killed you in a BMW. I almost drove.
Oh, that was fun.
I almost drove into the back of the governor's car.
Oh yeah.
BMW.
You got me hooked. You got us hooked on the idea of electric cars, though. So my wife now has one.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. Well, it's been too long. Yeah. Well, we're gonna have. So we're actually about to develop